context of India, shadi and ghar, these are the two things where your emotions are deeply involved. You have these dreams, aspirations, needs, promises. This is where my children will play, this is where they'll study, or this is where we'll bring our new daughter-in-law, or this is the wardrobe that she'll get. There are so many lives, I think, future movements. They already start associating with the house they are planning or building. And we understand that, we empathize with it, and we take this responsibility very seriously.
Generally, when somebody is talking about luxury, the whole perception is that luxury is more like a way to make something expensive.
Looking or having luxury does not necessarily mean that you have to spend far too much. Sometimes it's all about the creativity,
right?
The innate sensibility that you bring to fore that has a bigger impact than overall spend, and especially when it comes to the real estate, homes.
The Make in India movement, right? Where we want more locally sourced, locally manufactured, and things that we want to feel pride about कि ये हमारे देश में ही बनी है, right?
You may want to support Make in India, but ultimately you're a rational person.
Right.
If you are finding something which is better and cheaper, irrespective where it has come from, you are going to lean towards that. That's understandable. So it's not just Make in India, it's make better in India.
Right.
And that's where I think design again comes to our rescue.
But how do you build a business based on this? Because you can't quantify this in terms of time, effort, and still you have to build a profitable business, right? Hello and welcome to another edition of ISN Podcast, a very special edition, because this time we are doing an in-person interview and जिस बारे में हम बात करने वाले हैं वो बहुत ही अलग है, जिनसे हम बात करने वाले हैं वो बहुत अलग है, और जिस टॉपिक पे हम बात करने वाले हैं वो आपके लिए बहुत अलग होगा. हम बात करने वाले हैं लग्जरी के बारे में. The whole idea of luxury, what it is all about and how it is approachable or maybe not approachable for all of us. We'll deep dive into the business of luxury with one and only Hardesh Chawla ji. Hardesh ji, welcome to ISN Podcast.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm too. We have been planning for it for a while.
That's right.
And I'm so glad that you could take some time out of your busy schedule.
My pleasure.
And we can talk about this. So, Hardesh ji is the founder of Essentia Environments, a brand that has redefined luxury in the home decor interior space, and it's continuing to do so. So, today we will explore more about what it means to be an Essentia brand, right? We will go behind the scenes थोड़ा to understand Hardesh ji यहाँ तक कैसे पहुँचे, and hopefully पता लगाएंगे कि how do we also build a company, a brand like this. So Hardesh ji, let's start with like a very basic question. How long has it been?
So when we talk about Essentia, we are celebrating our 25th year.
This year?
This is our 25th year celebrations, yes.
Oh, wow, okay.
So it's a milestone that we have reached. So 25 years, it sounds like a long time.
Right.
But when I look back, it seems like yesterday that we started and we were thinking about what should be the name of the organization and what will it do. And I still remember vividly, where we were, what we were doing. And yes, but it is 25 years now. That's right.
And were you always clear that you are building a brand which is in the luxury space and which is catering to a certain kind of audience? Or was it always like, it's for everyone, it just happens to be
no
defined like this?
I think this is if I can use this word for lack of a better one, this is a paradigm shift for what I was doing and what my thinking was. So it has taken me a long time. I don't know if you know this or you have heard this thing. I started my career for all practical purposes in Russia.
Oh, okay.
And this was in 93 January I reached there. And Russia had just survived the collapse of USSR, and it was wild west. Everything was very chaotic. The market was starved of everything. So it was a good time to be there in sense that any business or any work that you decided to do, it would have met with success. It was easy because there was so much demand and so little supply. But it was also very chaotic. The word of there was no agreement. There was no rule of law. So it was just the relationships that allowed you to succeed or not succeed. So in sense, when when you start your career in this environment,
Mm-hmm.
what you do is your thinking gets a little skewed. You're not thinking about building something
Mm-hmm.
and putting in effort or going through that slog and then seeing the results 10 years later. The thinking was, if we are putting in effort in the morning, we should see the result in the evening.
Same day. क्या करना है
Otherwise,
क्या?
otherwise there was no sense of longevity. You see, so I start. So those were my influencing. So that's where I come from. That if you have to spend time or if you have to make effort to make money, then what is the point of that? You see, from there to give 25 years to build a brand to get to where we are, it's a paradigm shift. It took me a while.
Go to Russia to build a business, or
We was there, so I was sent there to handle something for an organization, and I worked there for a year and a half, and then I quit and set up my business. So I started my business in Russia, not this one, but all my formative career building years were there.
अच्छा.
So there, I think the one good thing that I picked from there was that no matter what, you have to honor your word. Because that came in, that helped us a lot during those years. And so that I think is something which I have stuck with ever since. But other than that, it took me a long while to get out of that mindset that it's not about making money, it's not about making deals, it's about putting in that effort, that slog, going through that slog, creating an organization, having those systems and processes in place, and then wait for the result. So that was, I think it took me a little while. We could have probably done so much more again, or not, if I had started my career somewhere else.
Right.
But yeah, so that it took actually conscious effort on my part to get out of that mindset.
And that is great because you are building somebody's home. Right.
True. And Piyush, you'll understand, in context of India, shadi and ghar, these are the two things where your emotions are deeply involved. You have these dreams, aspirations, needs, promises. I'll share an anecdote. We did a home for one of the large organizations founder, and when the home was built, and then there were a lot of issues. It was a large house. It took longer than it should have, and there were a lot of ups and downs during that process. But when it was done, he threw a party and invited me and my wife. She couldn't go. I was there. And during that party, and this party he had thrown for his near and dear ones, family and very close friends. And he had set up a temporary stage during that party, and he dragged me to the stage, and he made an announcement. He said, "Hardesh, we have been together for 5 years or thereabouts, and I did not share it with you then, and today I want to tell in front of everyone. When I got married, and this is a guy whose company was valued at 10,000 crores. Okay, so when I got married, I was very poor. I had nothing. But I promised my wife that I'll keep you like a queen. Okay. Today, I'm honoring that promise by giving her this palace.
Wow.
Okay. So you see, so those emotions, that feeling, I think it is associated, and everybody has in some sense or the other associated with the home. They have their aspiration in sense that this is where my children will play, this is where they'll study, or this is where we'll bring our new daughter-in-law, or this is the wardrobe that she'll get. There are so many lives, I think, future movements. They already start associating with the house they are planning or building, and we understand that, we empathize with it, and we take this responsibility very seriously. No matter who you are or where you are, I think this is constant.
Amazing.
Emotions and I think it resonates with us at every level.
No, that's great because, I feel when somebody's talking about their home, they have to build it like a safe space jahan pe they feel like they are the most comfortable, right?
Absolutely.
They can be themselves. There's nobody watching. It's safe, secure. It's their own comfortable. Like, I think that's where the term comes, at home, like feels like I'm at home. And I think that's where somebody like you come in the picture, where you are saying, ki boss, we understand that emotion and we want to build that for you. Like, give us that opportunity to build that, right?
Sometimes and here is the thing. So we wear both the hats, in sense we will also do the structure, but we'll also focus or a lot on interiors. What happens is when people start thinking about house, typically what do they think? I need a 3 bedroom. Okay, I understand. That's the very basic concept. It's like I need clothes to cover myself. But each occasion will call for different ensemble. Yes, if you're getting married, you can't wear the same thing that you wear to office every day. That's this thing. So typically, when it comes to homes, I genuinely believe that every home should accommodate your lifestyle, not the other way around. Your lifestyle should not be hampered or influenced by the shortcomings in your home. And especially, I'm saying it's a crime if you're making a home a bespoke house that it does not cater to all your requirements. And we start with this brief process where we want to capture. We try our honest attempt is to capture your lifestyle. And on more occasions than one, we have mentioned this to the client that they should think of us like their family doctor. Tell us everything. Let us decide whether it is important or not. Sometimes what happens is bigger things are easy to take care of. The smaller things. Yeah, every evening I go to bed, I have to specially get out of the bed to put my phone on charge. Okay, now I am falling asleep. लेकिन फोन मेरे हाथ में था. अब मैं कहता हूँ रख दो.
बहुत ही बेसिक चीज है,
बड़ी
लेकिन
बेसिक चीज है. बड़ी
लेकिन
बेसिक चीज है, लेकिन
चाहिए.
उठ के जाना है. सेकंड, मुझे सुबह उठते ही चाय चाहिए होती है. अब चाय चाहिए होती है तो मैं किचन में फ़ोन करता हूँ, आती है तो नींद खराब हो जाती है. ऐसा अच्छा कैटल मेरे वो हो. समटाइम्स व्हाट हैपेंस इज पीपल विल प्लान अ लार्ज बेडरूम. ओके, कि अब है बड़ा सिंपल सी चीज़, बट दे हैव टू गो टू द WC, वॉकिंग थ्रू देयर ड्रेसर. you're walking 50 steps and coming back क्योंकि घर बड़ा है. अब नींद तो खुल गई ना. So these are little things which I think you can easily accommodate during the planning stage. Second, party हो रही है. Sometimes people, and if that's your lifestyle that you love throwing parties, ठीक है. So we want to create a lot of different areas so that when you invite your friends, for a long time they get this sense of a newness. अच्छा बेसमेंट में भी है, अच्छा टेरेस पे भी है, अच्छा यहाँ अंदर भी है, अच्छा लॉन भी कनेक्ट हो जाता है. बट नो बडी थिंक्स अबाउट द मूवमेंट ऑफ स्टाफ और केटरिंग स्टाफ कि वो कहाँ से आएंगे, सर्विस कहाँ से होगा. एंड देन पीपल यू सी इन बिग पार्टीज की वो वेटर्स बड़े से डिशेज लेके जा रहे हैं स्पिल करते हुए. ओके, बिकॉज नो बडी थॉट अबाउट दिस. लेकिन अगर पहले से सारी चीज़ें हो जाएं, इट्स ईजी टू अकोमोडेट दैट. एंड इन इंडियन कंटेक्स्ट वी ऑल्सो हैव अनदर एंगल ऑफ वास्तु. और यहाँ पे भी मेरी रिकमेंडेशन हमेशा ये रहती है कि मेक योर हाउस 100% वास्तु कंप्लायंट. वाई? उसका मैं कारण बताता हूँ.
There is a science behind it as well, right?
But I'm not a Vastu expert, so I would not like to comment whether that works or not. But what definitely happens is this. Unlike fashion, you don't make your homes for few months or few years. It has to have that life. And we generally recommend that you should plan for at least 15 to 20 years. अब ये 15-20 साल, it's a very long time. इतना लंबा टाइम है कि इसमें कुछ ना कुछ गड़बड़ जरूर होगी. When it happens, what are you going to do?
क्या गलत है? क्या
कोई ना कोई रेकमेंड करेगा, यार वास्तु कंसल्टेंट को दिखा लो. अब वास्तु वाला आया, घर बन गया आपका. अब वो कहता है सुनो ये आपका जो बाथरूम है ना ये गलत है,
ये तोड़ के दूसरी जगह.
नाउ व्हाट डू यू डू? अब उसने वहम डाल दिया.
राइट.
अब जब वहम आ गया तो फिर कुछ करना पड़ेगा. सो आई से कि इट्स ओके, better get that vastu consultant now.
Right.
Engage the one who you trust and then do not engage with anyone else. एक बारी करो, सारी हम करेंगे ना. We are here. So for us it's a creative challenge. We need this thing, we need to have the view, we need to make it convenient, but we also need to accommodate these vastu requirements.
Right.
So that's a challenge that we are more than happy to address.
That's lovely. I mean, in fact, आप जब बात कर रहे थे, it got reminded that when we moved homes, our complaint with the new home was that kitchen बहुत दूर है, and like that we have to take extra steps to reach the kitchen, and that was not something that we would have realized just by looking at the house. And it's
हो
only
जाता है.
started
And
today.
especially if your lifestyle says that kitchen में cook mother या wife या sister या तुम खुद करते हो, let's say for example, and you are serving. So if that is the case, then you want to be closer.
Right.
And it's not just कि serving easy हो जाता है. It's also about how do you create and maintain that connectivity. एक घर जो है ना, आज हमारे पास आते हैं and we have these anecdotes, so many such anecdotes where they come to us कि पेरेंट्स हैं, दो लड़के हैं, बड़े हो रहे हैं, तो 3 फ्लोर बना देते हैं. एंड वी से व्हेन यू आर डूइंग दिस थिंग एंड आई हैव 2 बॉयज, तो आई लुक एट इट फ्रॉम दैट पर्सपेक्टिव दैट अगर मैं कोई नया घर बना रहा हूँ, सो माई फोकस विल बी हाउ डज दैट प्रॉपर्टी ब्रिंग द फैमिली टुगेदर. एक्सक्यूज होना चाहिए कि एक दूसरे से एक टू कम इन टू ईच अदर्स फेस. यू नो, अगर आपने 3 किचन बना दिए, अलग कर दिया, तो चांसेस है कि हफ्ता हफ्ता शक्ल नहीं देखोगे एक दूसरे की. तो धीरे धीरे वो फिर फिजिकल सेपरेशन विल अल्टीमेटली लीड टू इमोशनल सेपरेशन. इंस्टेड किचन एक है, कोई कॉमन एरियाज एक हैं, जिम एक है, होम थिएटर एक है. यू नो, व्हाई डू यू नीड टू क्रिएट ऑल दिस सेपरेट इशूज? I'm example there. The house that we live in, it was designed almost 15-16 years ago. जब बच्चे बहुत छोटे थे, अब बड़े हो गए हैं, बड़े वाले की शादी होनी है. नाउ वी आर थिंकिंग रीप्लानिंग करनी है, उस घर की करना है. तो मैं कहा जो बच्चों का जो मेरे ग्रैंड किड्स होंगे ना, उनका कमरा मैं अपने बेडरूम के साथ रखूँगा, उनके कमरे से दूर, सो दैट कुछ भी करे वो उनको तो नहीं छोड़ेंगे ना. वो बच्चों को मिलने तो आएंगे ना. जब आएंगे तो हमारे साथ भी इंटरेक्शन होगी. यू सी, सो आर्किटेक्चर इज नॉट जस्ट अबाउट कि how do I accommodate your requirement. It's also about how do I influence your lifestyle. How do I influence those emotions? It's important. People generally tend to overlook that.
And I mean, the way I'm hearing, you're definitely somebody who's oriented towards family. I think it's also very important कि आप जब डिजाइन कर रहे हो तो आपके जो पर्सनल प्रेफरेंसेस है, आपकी पर्सनालिटी के साथ जो चीजें जाती हैं, उनको भी ध्यान में रखा जाए, right? Because a design is not functional for everyone.
What works for you may not work for someone else.
Yeah.
And that we understand. Each individual is different. His lifestyle is different. Today, I stay with my parents. My dad is 86 plus. Okay. He goes to bed at 7:30, wakes up at 3:30. I go to bed at 3 o'clock. You know, so he wishes me good night. I wish him good morning. So the lifestyle is completely different.
Right.
And our children are somewhere in between. So of course the lifestyle is different. You know, so which means the requirement of the space is different. How you will address the same size property would be completely different for 2 different individuals or 2 different families. That goes without saying.
But tell me this, like the idea of designing homes based on your personality, your personal preferences, characteristics, and still keeping it with the trends, with you know what is आज के time पे, आज के generation पे जो चीजें चल रही हैं, जो common है, is that what defines the idea of luxury for Essentia, or it's something more?
Let's go back to basics. You know, what makes a product or a space or anything, for that example, luxurious? What are the basic components of that? And let me try to break it up for you. You know, at minimum, it has to be the raw materials or the products or the components of it has to be high quality.
Definitely.
That goes without saying. Okay. Workmanship, you cannot compromise on that. 3, it cannot be easily available. It has to be rare. If something which is both high quality with high workmanship, but it is available everywhere with everyone, I think it will lose its luxurious categorization. Okay. 4, and this is very important, the perception of it in your mind. Okay, if you don't perceive it to be luxurious, it is not luxurious. Okay. And lastly, I would say, especially in today's context, it needs to be personalized. So what is luxury for you may not be luxury for me. So today you can buy a shirt from everywhere, but then you get it tailored from a tailor who has impeccable credentials, who's reputed to be one of the top persons in his field, and he's doing it specially for you, catering to each and every this thing that I want my cuff to be a millimeter longer or tighter, or I need it comfortable, more this thing, little I would say more space in my shoulder. So in sense,
and what you feel when you're wearing that shirt, right?
That's the perception in your mind.
Right.
So I think these 5 components are given. Okay, these haven't changed over the last 1,000 years. Okay, if you go back and you look at this thing, you'll find anything which is categorized as luxury, they'll have these 5 components at the minimum.
But tell me this, because you have not mentioned about this, but generally now, when somebody is talking about luxury, the whole perception is that luxury is more like a way to make something expensive. Or just because you want to sell at a higher price, you are using the word luxury.
I would say because let's say you're using best quality materials, you're using impeccable workmanship. So this definitely ensures that it isn't cheap. You know, or let's say cheaper.
Yeah.
So again, you know, absolute value may differ for different people. For some person, someone maybe $100 is a huge amount, and for someone $100 maybe, you know, chump change. So in sense, so absolute value पे नहीं जाते हैं. But I think if for anything that you take example of a glass, now if it is crystal and if it is made very nicely, there's no absolutely clarity in the this thing, you know. And then of course it is designed by a designer who's considered as an authority in his field. So दो चीज़ें हो रही है, कॉस्ट बढ़ रही है, easily available नहीं है, and then of course if it is being retailed in a, let's say in a store which matches that ambience and you know builds on that perception, then again तो कहीं ना कहीं कॉस्ट तो बढ़ती है. Let's be very clear. But yeah, but that doesn't mean that it needs to be prohibitively expensive. So that's where I know it's an oxymoron when we say affordable luxury. So there's no such thing as affordable luxury.
Right.
But what I mean by that is that it shouldn't cost you more than it needs to. That I think is a better definition for luxury.
Or maybe, you know, affordable luxury नहीं तो approachable luxury.
Possibly that's a so much better term. That and then you know हम जब शुरू हुए थे ना, and I come from I would say comfortable but relatively humbler backgrounds, you know, so I understand the value of money. I've seen it up close and personally that every day was I would say we had to make choices, A or B, C or D, you know. And I understand that there is a huge segment, particularly in India, जिनके लिए disposable income, let's say, relatively कम है. लेकिन does that mean that they don't have a right to live a life which approaches luxury? And I would say that is not. I genuinely believe that luxury is a right to be enjoyed by everyone. Instead of कि जो लोग हैं जो you know industrialists हैं या जिनके पास पैसे की कमी नहीं है कि only they are the ones who can afford luxury. There might be certain luxurious elements which may be out of reach for a lot of people. But overall, living luxuriously should not mean that it's reserved for a select few people. And I'll give you an example, and I think I might have mentioned it earlier. Sometimes people can spend a lot and yet not achieve that sophisticated, elegant effect. And sometimes people can achieve this very sophistication or elegant effect by spending so much less. एग्जाम्पल लेते हैं कपड़ों का एंड सॉफ्ट यू नो लोगों के पास जिनके पास पैसे की कमी नहीं है बट लेट्स से दे लैक दैट elevated sensibility. They might go to the most expensive store, Louis Vuitton or Gucci and all this thing, and you might have seen Rocky Randhawa. Okay, वो ऊपर से लेके नीचे तक brands थे.
Right.
Okay, and then you looked at Alia Bhatt in that very movie. So she was supposedly wearing humbler brands, yes, who looked more elegant out of the two.
And who looked like they are having a luxurious, you know, life.
You get my point. Yes?
Yeah.
So Rocky Randhawa in Rocky Ki Rani, yes.
Yeah.
So he was, he looked like, and he was made to look like a fashion victim, yes. ऊपर से लेके कैप से
और rather a perception victim कि हमें दिखना है ऐसा.
That's right. That's subject, but पैसे ज़्यादा खर्च किए हुए थे. And here comes Alia Bhatt with a simple sari, okay, not much in terms of expensive ensemble. And yet she looked far more elegant. And this is exactly what I mean, that looking or having luxury does not necessarily mean that you have to spend far too much. Sometimes it's all about the creativity,
Right.
the innate sensibility that you bring to fore that has a bigger impact than overall spend. And especially when it comes to the real estate, homes. So I genuinely एक example देता हूँ, नाम नहीं बताऊँगा. But so we did a large apartment for a client.
Okay.
We ended up spending X, let's say. Right above him was a gentleman who had exactly the same sized apartment in the same building, same tower, same everything. He had finished his apartment and he ended up spending 3x. He calls me after he saw this apartment that how much do you think I'll have to spend to get that look? So spending more does not mean that the end result will be nice. Sometimes you need to spend less. Sometimes you need to, and then we have this mantra which we use very often: less is more. Okay. As a matter of fact, if I believe correctly, it was Coco Chanel who said that when you are stepping out or when you are ready to step out of your home, remove 2 or 3 pieces from yourself. And she was talking in terms of jewelry or clothes or handbag and everything, and then you're ready to go. So I think she also innately was leaning towards less is more. Don't overdo. And sometimes as a designers, and we see it very often, people come to us because they've spent a lot. Some people have this portfolio syndrome that if you have 4 walls in a room, let me put as many elements as possible on all 4 rooms and this will make it look luxurious. That is not the case. You overdo it. Think in terms of if you're a chef and you're cooking something, what naturally tastes better, simpler. If you put too many spices, if you mix Thai with Chinese or with South Indian, you're not doing anyone, how do you put it? You're making a cacophony. You're not creating a symphony. So that I think is this thing. So when you stick to basics, if you have a veneer wall, then you don't need to cover your entire home with wall paneling. Put it somewhere a little bit. It's like a tadka. If you overdo it, then basically you're diluting the effect.
Absolutely. And I really like the passion with which you're talking. But to make it even more approachable in terms of what we are talking about, tell me who should come to Essentia for their homes? Who are the people?
Everyone. I say, okay, now engaging an interior designer or see, here is the problem. It's a very architecture or interior design, it's a very hands-on job.
Right.
Okay. But that sensibility, that innate sensibility, so some people have it, some people don't. And I would say this is like no matter how passionate you are about singing, if you don't have that voice, if you don't have that basic, you will not become Kishore Kumar.
And then comes the discipline and riyaz and improvement and everything.
Of course. So that goes without saying, And when it comes to interior design and architecture, you also need a large team. If you need to do proper justice to any project that you take. So which means it is not cheap.
Right.
Let's say, by it, there's only so much you can do because it's quite hands-on. It's a long journey. Typically, a project, let's say, अगर हम घर की बात करते हैं, तो it'll take 2 years, year and a half, 2 years, sometimes even more.
Oh wow!
So it's a long time where you have to give your, time involvement. So सस्ता तो नहीं पड़ता है. So by definition, anybody who's coming to an interior designer's office, they understand that okay, we need a large or a beautiful this thing, and well, we have some budget for it. Let's say now that budget may vary. 5,000 से लेके 50,000 रुपए तक, let's say, so that's a wide variation. But if you are somebody who can afford to spend any amount, let's say 50,000 plus, okay, and now you would say, तब तो आपको अच्छे डिजाइनर के पास जाना ही चाहिए. That this is what intuitively you would feel.
तब तो आपको महंगा लेना ही चाहिए.
अच्छा लेना ही चाहिए. Go to the best interior designer, And I'll say it's counterintuitive. You can afford to go to I shouldn't say bad, but let's say a designer who's not as accomplished. Okay. Why? Because पैसे की तो चिंता नहीं है. उसने कुछ बनाया, पसंद नहीं आया तो रीडू कर लेंगे. क्या फर्क पड़ता है? You already have multiple properties where you're staying. इसमें डिले हो गया, 6 महीने एक्स्ट्रा लग गए, साल एक्स्ट्रा लग गया, बन रहा है, धीरे धीरे हो रहा है. You still have that affordability to address it. Now let's say you don't have that budget. है ही नहीं. एक ही बारी कर सकते हैं. You either get it right or you're stuck with it for the next 20, 25, 30 years.
Which is a lot of people.
Which is what a lot of the people. That is the time when you need to ensure that you're going to the best possible designer you can find. Why? Like I've mentioned earlier, creativity does not mean spending more.
Right.
It's my problem. If you say, Hardesh, my budget is X, give me the best you can, that's what I will do.
I also feel this definition of best changes from people to people.
Yes.
And something that I have tried to look at it as, what is best for me is based on what emotion it is evoking in me.
True.
So when people are coming here, I mean, this is a beautiful experience center, by the way, that you have created. I think तो यहाँ पे जब I'm seeing your work, your designs, your architecture, the materials you have used, what is the emotion I'm getting? Can I imagine myself in that space? Is what will cater to me and tell me whether I should go with you and are you the best for me or not, right?
दो चीज़ें हैं देखो एक लाइक आई सेड whenever we take on a project my job as a professional is to first capture your requirements, your preferences, that because you have to live in that house. But the fact that you're coming to me is because you also like our sensibilities. Today you may say ki I like gold everywhere. Okay, I take it from there that you like gold. But should I have gilded up walls all over the house? It'll make it look ostentatious. It'll not make it look sophisticated or elegant or luxurious. So it's my job as a professional to also control your impulses. So I bring my sensibility, capture your preferences, and then design. Secondly, today, fortunately, we have tools available with us. I can show you a house that I'm going to build in picture quality renders.
Right.
Before we become hammer happy at site. It's a crime when I see people don't use it. Even today we have people who say, I have it in my mind, बनने दो आपको दिखाता हूँ. Now, and I'm not saying his intent might be pure. Okay, he's trying to give the best that he feels works for you. But it may yet be different from what you had in mind. And now बन गया. अब कौन उसका खर्चा करेगा?
Right.
And often what happens is, and I ask these people, why did you allow it to be built if you're not happy with it? He said, no, the architect or the interior designer kept on saying that, बनने दो फिर देखना, बनने दो फिर देखना, बनने दो फिर देखना. And I can understand that. Half cooked anything, like painting बन रही है, पूरी नहीं बनी है, how can you even visualize? So I understand that. लेकिन with all good intentions, कहीं ना कहीं disconnect आ जाता है. And now that we have these tools available, why shouldn't we make use of it? It costs a little. It takes a little bit of time, but it's still far better option.
But in the long run, it actually costs less.
Absolutely. And second, एक आध चीज़ आपने हमारे स्टूडियो की बात करी है. What you will notice in it is that the base palette is neutral. And like I said, any space that you build is supposed to last you 15, 20 years. Yes. When you keep the base palette neutral, it kind of becomes timeless. It will never get heavy or out of style or, it's not the fad. Two, it's very easy to refresh it by introducing some colorful elements. It could be a piece of art, it could be a decor element, it could be a cushion. If it's a bedroom, we can change the bed linen, So you can keep on refreshing it very easily. So idea is, whatever space we create, it should be timeless. 20 साल, 25 साल जब तक आपकी requirement change नहीं होती. Sometimes what happens is family grows और family छोटी हो जाती है, बच्चे बाहर चले गए, अब बड़ा घर नहीं मैनेज कर सकते हैं, या वाइस वर्सा कि बच्चे बड़े हो गए, अब उनकी शादी हो रही है, बच्चे हो रहे हैं, तो we need a bigger space. So often what happens is during 15, 20, 25 years, the circumstances change completely. And then you need a new space, understandable. Why not? लेकिन the fact it's looking dated, that shouldn't be one of the reasons why you have to redo your home or a office space as well.
Absolutely. Tell me this, I mean, 25 saal, right? 25 years you have been in the business. You have actually seen the industry evolve, industry change. और खासकर India में, like real estate boom came in the last 15 years or so. So you have seen like people growing, having more money, access to more money, and getting into the aspirational space. Have there been times where you have felt that the person who is coming to you is going after a perception that is not them, and you have to sort of take them back and also still keep it very much in terms of the aspirational value? कि बचपन से वो लोग सपना देखते आ रहे इस घर का, लेकिन आज के टाइम में अब that is not the thing to go after.
True. So often we'll have people come to us and say, sometimes what happens is they've heard the terms, but they may not understand the terms. And I'll give you an example. Everybody gets confused between modern and contemporary. Now, they are completely different architectural styles.
Right.
Okay. Contemporary is what's relevant today. Modern is what happened in 1960s,
But they say we want modern and contemporary.
Something like that. But they mean contemporary. So for us, it's very important to capture what they actually mean. And because most of what we do is visual in nature. So when we take the brief, we understand that there are going to be lags. And sometimes what happens is when you have a large family, sometimes contradictions happen within the family. You see, you may like black and a family member likes white. So there's that contradiction which we have to resolve. So what happens is we take the brief process very, very seriously. Of course, there is a set of brief that, okay, how many rooms do you need? What is your lifestyle? So we capture that functional.
What's like the usual timeline for this initial process of gathering the requirements and
couple of weeks.
Nice. I mean, this reminded me of the fact that so while growing up, I come from a family where we had grocery shops. So, and in the same family, there are multiple brothers, uncles, aunts, everybody, and there are multiple grocery shops, right? But some do well, some don't do well.
True.
And I remember my father talking about it as to why he is doing so well and how others can replicate it. And many couldn't because it was just a pure thing of customer first service. Like to understand why you are coming to me. And मुझे अभी भी याद है कि लोग बहुत दूर से आते थे एक टिन घी का टीना लेने के लिए.
पीयूष एक बात बताऊं most of the people they have an innate understanding or intuition about who's being nice to them.
And who's thinking for them, right?
Yes. And when you look at our business, by nature, all our clients are very accomplished, which means they have a above average intellect. Okay, if nothing else, yes. So for them, it's even easier. So I think when you truly want to protect their interest, that shows. आज नहीं करेगा तो 2 महीने बाद वो समझ आ जाएगी, 6 महीने बाद समझ आ जाएगी, and then nothing matters. And this I think saves. And there is a practical aspect to it. What do clients want? What do accomplished people want? What do they don't have? They don't have time. What do they want? A solution that is convenient and that can happen without their involvement. How does that happen? Only through trust.
Absolutely.
When a client trusts us, it also saves my time. I don't have to explain or justify to them what our decisions are or why we are doing that. So it works both ways. But then develop the trust any which how.
You also mentioned products and manufacturing. And abhi tak I have been thinking more about interior design in terms of being on site and designing the look, feel, and everything. What are we talking about when we what are these products that we're talking about?
So now we are the only organization in the country now that does everything when it comes to a luxury space or high-end space.
Even this furniture that we are sitting on.
Everything. So of course, complete design services, on-site contracting, and now manufacturing of practically everything that goes in any high-end space, and which we are now trying to bundle all under Essentia Home. Okay, now when I say products, what I mean is your glass metal doors, sliders, your regular doors, paneling, joinery, wardrobes, vanities, furniture, of course, both indoor and outdoors, even soft furnishings, your bed linen, your curtains, your cushions, throws.
Even light fittings.
Light fixtures, so I'll come to that, even mattresses, and then art, sculptures, artifacts. Now, all of this we are manufacturing under one roof.
So it's completely in your control as to whatever vision you're thinking, whether you can execute or not.
Absolutely. And then there was a reason why we needed to do that. And plus, whatever we don't manufacture, we are trying to curate. So we are tied up with a lot of organizations from all over the world who we represent now on an exclusive basis, so that the product portfolio is complete. Why? We are trying to pivot towards becoming a backend for. See, Essentia Environments is one design firm. For a long time, all our infrastructure was focused towards servicing its needs. Okay, but there are 20,000 other architects and interior designers who also require this very service. So now we are pivoting towards becoming a backend for them.
So will Essentia Homes, apart from obviously designing for environments and creating, pieces of furniture and every other product that caters to that particular design, will these designs be also available for others?
Absolutely. So we are creating a large product library. See, there are a lot of learning that we have gotten through our journey as a designers. Okay, we have sat on the other side of the table for far too long. And I'll give you one example which you'll understand. In Delhi, in North India, generally the homes are very large. Okay, 8 bedrooms, 10 bedrooms is fairly common.
Right.
Okay, now when you have to furnish 10 bedroom home, you need a selection of 100 beds. How can you make a selection from 8 beds? Okay, which is what most of the organizations offer. That we have 8 beds, designs, choose.
That too, it follows a pattern, right? Because
पहले तो okay, that's a separate issue, that the designs may be fairly common or whatever, but I'm saying you cannot furnish a 10 bedroom home if you have only 8 beds to choose from.
right.
Now superimpose on this that each client has multiple properties. Okay, apartment there, a farmhouse here, a koti here, and then within few years another apartment or koti being built. Yes, you need a large product collection, which no single company offers. So that gave us an knowledge that if you want to succeed as a product manufacturer, the offering needs to be huge. So we are working with a 2000 product library, okay, and we're adding to it continuously.
This sounds like a full evolution of what brand. Like, how did you even come up with this as, okay, this is a business segment we need to
Because
create?
like I said, it was our need. So what were the options available to me? Either go from a city to another city, maybe go to China, maybe go to Turkey, maybe go to Italy, and then whenever you make a trip like this, it's 5-6 days. Okay, and then does it solve your problem? No, because there is another project which is ready. So then either you make a base in China and stay there. Okay, and that also did not hold. Why? Because no single company was offering such a wide collection. So if you're mixing and matching from different places, you take bed from here, you take nightstands from there, sofa from there, chair from there, they don't talk to each other. Okay, so there were those challenges. So it was a struggle for us to complete our project. So whatever pain points we had, we tried to resolve it internally.
Right.
Because I thought we all felt it's easier to train our own team rather than a vendor from outside, because the vendor will keep on changing, and then that means we'll have to keep giving the training again and again. Training our team takes far longer than actually executing. So our aim was, see, like I said, profit and revenue and top line is incidental. First, we have to solve that problem. And the problem is not ours alone. Today, I'm 100% certain all other architects and interior designers are facing the same problem. That they conceptualize something, but when it comes to executing it or bringing it to reality, they struggle.
They struggle.
You know?
Also, I think it speaks a lot about this other notion that I think all of us in India today strongly believe in, is that, the Make in India movement, right? Where we want more locally sourced, locally manufactured, and things that we want to feel pride about, कि ये हमारे देश में ही बनी है, right? So I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, when you are talking about your manufacturing unit and using your materials, your design, bringing it alive rather than going to China or other countries, bringing from there, we are also attaching that emotional connect.
Absolutely. See, I genuinely believe, and now we have, again, like I said, I like to go through this evolution myself on a continuous basis. Everybody talks about environmental sustainability, but I think there's another component which often gets overlooked, is the social sustainability. What is the need of the hour when we talk about Indian youth? Now we keep on hearing this fantastic numbers that 2 crore people need jobs, or they keep going to need this job, and we're going to add and all this thing. But how are you going to create these jobs? IT cannot accommodate so many people. So there's a universal recognition that manufacturing is the need of the hour. We need to support manufacturing. Okay, good. I understand that logic. Piyush, tell me one thing. Are you going to buy something which is more expensive but not as good as something which is available but it is made in China or Turkey or anywhere else? What will you do rationally? Tell me one thing. You're not going to. Fine, you may want to support Make in India, but ultimately, you're a rational person.
Right.
If you're finding something which is better and cheaper, irrespective where it has come from, you're going to lean towards that.
Sure.
That's understandable. So it's not just Make in India, it's make better in India. Okay?
Right.
And that's where I think design again comes to our rescue. First, I think through creativity, we have enhanced our product so much that there is no competition, not in India, but I would say not anywhere. Two, when I look at my artisans, when I look at the skilled workers who we have, their skill is incomparable.
Hmm.
It's a multi-generational wealth that they have seen their grandfather or their father or
And if we
anyone
don't
else
keep
see.
investing in it, we'll lose it.
True. It's not their fault that they don't have that, I would say, that eye for detail, or that evolved sensibility and sense of aesthetics. But that's where we come in. So when you combine that together, a highly evolved sensibility with the skill that we have available, and we support them through proper incentives, the product that we get is simply incomparable. Now, when it comes to design, we understand that if Essentia, the principals or the team is the only one designing, then again it'll start becoming one dimensional. So, to counter that, we have tied up with designers from all over the world.
Okay.
Okay, now we have designers sitting in Florence, in Milan, in Moscow, in Lebanon, in Tel Aviv, in Zurich, uh, and counting. And now they are designing products for us, which we hold the IPR for that. We are patenting all those designs, and we have the rights to sell them globally. So two things are happening. One, our product library is continuously getting enhanced. Two, those designers, what they've done is they've started promoting these products, the products that they are designing, but which are being manufactured by us in their projects all over the world. So the visibility, the name Essentia is starting to become familiar now in other countries as well. And it keeps I would say, our design sensibilities fresh.
Right.
Because we have so many people from different spheres of different geographies working into this thing. Ultimately, and I think that's what is going to be our main IPR.
I really like how you took your name also literally कि एसेंशिया हर देश में मिलना चाहिए.
I'll use that.
Please use. And in fact, I think you also gave me the exact topic or the theme of this conversation, which is how can we start making better in India, rather than just make in India, because all of this that you're talking about, the principles, the core customer first approach, how कैसे बनाएं ये business, right? I think everything is catering to this only, this one core message, कि let's figure out how do we make better in India, make better businesses, better products, better relationships, and then start building for the world in the process.
That's right. That's right. See, I whatever we have done for the first time, I think we have experimented on ourselves.
Right.
First, it's always easy. You go wrong. Well, there's nobody you're answerable to.
Right.
Yes. So उसी तरह से मुझे लगता है in that spirit कि I would first make my product available all over India. Learn from there. There will be some things, of course. It's a learning curve. I cannot say that we have become expert. Every time we make a new product, something goes wrong, and we correct it. We make the better one next time. So of course, that goes without saying. Similarly, we are now getting into the retail format. Next year onwards, we hope to start appointing franchisees. So when I appoint a franchisee, let's say in Hyderabad or in Madras or in Chennai or in Calcutta, so in sense that there'll be certain learning that'll come from there. I'll give you one example. A franchisee approached us from a city. So we said, okay, because I have been on the other side. We have taken franchises for some European brands, so I understand that connect. Yes. So, and I'll give you simple learning. So we said, okay, as a franchisee, you should expect a certain margin. 45% is the standard that over MRP you get a certain this thing, and that is all that you have to play with. You give a discount out of that. Whatever is left is yours. Sometimes what happens is some let's say people would recommend a client and they expect some commission in return, and we have a certain this thing that, okay, we'll entertain that. Why not? It's additional business and get introduced to a new project. Now this gentleman, now what he expects is that because as a franchisee I can get 45%, let me send a client and give me 45%. Okay, so we understood that the agreement needs to capture this.
Yeah.
That the franchisee means you pay for a product, you display it in your store, and then when you're selling, you have a certain margin. Yes. But if you send a client to us, I'm not giving him discount of 30-35% and giving you 45%. That doesn't work. So sometimes when you start doing things, you understand the gaps and then you plug them in. So I want all the learning to come from India before we start becoming aggressive and start promoting or distributing our products globally.
This is excellent. And because I know that most of our listeners are aspirational, entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs who are building, who are in the journey, and you seem like a person who is having exceptional knowledge and obviously loves to share that knowledge. Can they reach out to you?
Is that the new thing called sarcasm that you're using?
Not at all. Not at all. That's genuine feeling that's coming to, because the things that we have spoken about are, ये बातें लोग बोलते हैं, right? But then to be able to make it your core and then be able to talk about it from from a personal experience point of view is different. And I'm going to put you in a spot here, but I'm going to ask you, can people reach out to you for making sure that they can also get their businesses in line and they can sort of share their ideas with you and maybe get your thoughts on it and how they can build growth?
देखो, life offers you a lot of things, but unfortunately, it is when you collate the entire experience, it is still one set of data.
Of course.
To draw meaningful conclusions, you need multiple sets. So I'm happy to share my experiences, whether they work for you in your capacity. So that's, I think I'll leave other people to decide. एक चीज़ है, I would say, actually है तो बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं, but anybody who's interested in this field, तो उसके लिए एक चीज़ constant है, वो है, it's a 24/7 job.
Right.
Okay, तो ये as a matter of fact,
And I think that's true for any business that you're doing with passion, right? That's driven
possibly so. But during one such panel discussion, there were some people in the audience, and I'm assuming that panel discussion wasn't as illuminating or entertaining, so they ended up talking to each other. So an engineer, an artist, and an architect, they got speaking, and the topic turned to what's better, having a mistress or a wife. Okay. So engineer says wife. It's the more effort I put in building that foundation, the better the relationship. And we understand each other better, and that works for me. An artist goes, mistress, of course. She ignites my passion and makes me more creative. The poor architect, he says, both. I love having the wife and the mistress. And I tell each of them that I'm going to see the other one so that I can go back to office and get some work done. So this is unlike other fields. I am assuming, and you pointed out rightly, that in case you're passionate about something, you'll end up spending more time. But I think this particular field requires far too much time. And that is the reason why I brought my entire family over. My dad is 86. He comes to office every day. My wife, of course, she's the creative brains behind the entire organization. My son, who has just joined, and hopefully my younger son will also join, and then I'll try to coax them into finding wives who are also willing to come.
Wow.
So that the work remains your home.
Absolutely. And that, I think, that kind of perception is something that we are losing out. On that, thank you so much. This has been an enlightening conversation. I think, like you said, there will be people who will draw and learn a lot that what you have shared, and hopefully a lot of them will sort of want to explore Essentia more. With Essentia Homes coming, the creations are more approachable.
And if on a parting note, if I can give one advice, let's say, and as a matter of fact, I think I can just collate it into something. If you are thinking of doing a business or launching your own company, or you're passionate about something, so I think to start with, I would say think bigger. Okay. In sense, if you want to, and it's irrespective of what you want to do, and it does not relate to work. If you want to romance, then romance like Shah Rukh Khan does. If you want to explore, don't explore your neighborhood, explore the country, the globe, or even beyond. You want to make money, why stop at 1 million? Why not 1 billion or 1 trillion? So just think, increase the size of your canvas. Just think big. 2, I would say, be good. Start early, and I'll tell you why. Not because it'll give you some unspecified rewards in the life beyond, but in this very life, and I'll explain why. People can sense that when you are good, when you are nice, when you are genuinely nice, people can sense that. And when you are good, empathizing with other person's needs starts coming naturally. Okay, and then it doesn't feel like a chore, it becomes easy. Now, and when you're good, the fragrance of that takes a long time to spread. Start with your family, start with your colleagues, your friends, continue with your clients. Just be good. And you can pretend to be good, but I think over the long period of time, it'll take far more effort to pretend than to be good originally, naturally. So just get into the habit of being good. Third, I would say know yourself. Now, I know myself. I know there are certain things which I absolutely hate. I don't like to do, and I'm never going to be good at it. So objective analysis. What do you like? What do you don't like? What are you good at? What are you never going to be good at? Once you have analyzed that, try to plug those gaps. You can enter into partnerships, you can hire, or you can marry, like I did. Okay, I knew I cannot be detail oriented. I cannot spend a week pouring out, sitting and torturing myself over each single millimeter. Okay, that's not who I am. Okay, I look at the broad view and I say whether I like it or not, what to change, but I don't like getting into the details. My wife, she thrives on it. I'm yet to see a more detail oriented person. Okay, so that's her skill. So in sense, understand what you lack, plug it. Okay, this is important. Don't just it's not difficult, but I think a sense of objectivity is still needed. So be honest with yourself. Fourth, I would say make failure fun. Okay, don't you'll often, when you do something for the first time, things will go wrong, and that is not something which you every time something goes wrong, every time a client feels upset with any of my team members, I say you should be thankful for that. Why? The more upset he is, the more vocal he is about that, the better your learning is going to be. Now, if you have done something wrong and the client is so nice, so polite, he doesn't even make it an issue, he doesn't even let you know, you haven't learned anything. The more vocal the client, the better the lesson would be for you. And it's early on, the more lessons you learn like this, better it is for you. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I'll add a fifth one to that. Always be open to sharing what you have learned and what your journey has been.
वो ये अपने बुड्ढों वाली बात कर दी. And lastly, I would add is persevere. Persevere. Once you have decided what you want to do, experimented, you've found this thing, you've made the team, all this thing. But then forget about everything. There will be a lot of distractions.
Right.
When we started Essentia, there were so many opportunities that, okay, we can do that, we can do that. Even last month, somebody came and he said, sir, there's good opportunity. Let's start making sugar. Okay, these are distractions.
Right.
Stay away from that. You have chosen a field, stick to that. And then just forget about everything else, I think, and that's it. Now, in India, if you want to be an entrepreneur, and I will strongly, strongly, strongly urge everyone to do so. Why? Because when you start something on your own, you are generating additional employment. Okay, whether you're hiring 2 people or 5 or 500 or 5,000, every bit matters, every bit counts. So I am absolutely a strong advocate for anybody who wants to do work on their own, but always identify the problem that you are intending to solve, and then do give it the best. That's it. That would be my 2-bit. It was actually more than 2-bit, but yes, that would be.
No, but we are glad, we are thankful, and I think every word that you said are sort of gold. But on that note, I think we will have to call it a day. It's been amazing speaking with you, and we would like to encourage you, like Hardesh mentioned, to build for India, build better for India, and keep listening to, or rather watching to, ISN podcast. Thank you so much.